So we're going to talk about risk visualization. Yeah.
I'll let you say it because I clearly can't say it right.
And you're the native speaker.
Yes.
So, this is just him making me feel good. So.
No, the proof is in the previous video where I struggled to say it three times.
Yeah. I'm Vibeke from Kontrapro Risk Management, and I'm with Alexander Larsen from Baldwin Global, and we're talking about risk management for quite a few videos now.
This is the 7th video, I think.
This is the 7th. So, what can we say about risk visualization? What is it for?
Okay, so I mean, risk visualization is just a fancy word for, or not a fancy word, it's an alternative to risk reporting. Risk reporting is boring. Risk reporting is very much a report, and it's a snapshot of what's happened, and a lot of the time a risk register might be the report. What can you do with a risk register? You know, it's not the most effective tool to manage risk, especially when you're talking about leadership. So if you go to leadership with a risk register, I think you mentioned previously, you end up with just starting at the top and never getting to the bottom. There's ways around that, but essentially that's what happens. Even if you try to motivate them to start from a different angle, they want to start from the red risk.
Yeah, red says something.
Exactly. And the same with a risk matrix as well. All this is, risk visualization, is about taking it to the next step, making it actually effective, providing risk information to leaders that will help them make decisions and keep their interest. Again, it's the sales pitch. How do you keep leadership interested in risk management, and how do you also make it beneficial to risk management in decision making?
How can you help them view the value?
Exactly. Now there's tools out there like Bowtie XP, which allow you to visualize the cause, risk and consequences. And a lot of people love that. In my previous company, being engineers, they really liked being able to look at the risk and blow it up and see all the causes, all the barriers and controls that are in place, how effective they are. And for leaders generally, I think it's a bit too much information if you spread it out like that. But it's still effective. It depends on, again, who your audience is. But I met with a guy in London, a great guy, Nico Lategan. He has been working recently, over the last few years, on exactly this risk visualization. And he actually, I was able to spend some time with him, and like previous to this I didn't really see much of this out there, but he showed me what he had done, and it's not a risk software he uses. He uses a completely different software, which we'll add in the link as well so people can check it out. It's not a risk software, it's more like a brainstorming software, but he uses it for risk management, and very effectively, I might add. He's written a few articles, which I'll also will have links to. There's a lot of ways we could do it, and I'm sure you have ideas as well, maybe that you've used in the past, or...
Yeah, well, I've tended to use the risk matrix, the traditional risk matrix, and I know that there's a lot of discussion about that, because, I have an article that I still haven't read, that is called The Risk of Using Risk Matrices. Yes. So we can link that as well.
Okay, great.
I think I have a link for that. And of course, there's something about what colors do to us.
Yes.
For one thing, you know, red creates some kind of attention more, and green makes us relax. So that's one thing of it. But I have an interesting, totally unrelated example, totally unrelated to risk management, but it says something about the visual sense.
Right. Yeah. And how we interact with that.
Because my husband is a musician, and he works a lot with electronic instruments and synthesizers on his PC and stuff, and he has had to turn off the visualization of the sound waves in his equalizers or whatever they are called, because he ends up, instead of listening to the music, creating and producing good quality music, he ends up producing and creating nice sound waves
Wow.
in the visualization tool of
That's
the sound
amazing.
waves. And there's actually science on this.
Yeah.
So the visual power, no, the visual sense is so powerful.
Yeah.
So I think also finding good ways to communicate risk visually can be
Mhm.
very powerful and very effective for leaders.
Definitely, yeah.
So that's my thing.
That's amazing. That's a really
Yeah.
interesting aspect.
Yeah, and it's quite scary.
So basically, he's being influenced by.
Yeah, he's being influenced by what he sees instead of what he hears, and his purpose is to make
Yeah,
music,
that's
not
amazing.
to make beautiful sound waves on the screen, of course. So it's all about what's your objective,
Yeah.
and the objective when we talk about risk management is to actually being able to manage and control our situation better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and take better decisions, and by that have better results.
Yeah.
So
And I agree. I mean, I use risk matrix as well because that's what people are comfortable with. That's what people see. Management tend to understand risk matrix, and that's a lot to do with the fact that it's been embedded from the start of risk management. We use a risk matrix. It's also embedded within health and safety. It's also embedded in so many aspects of the business. So although it might not be the most valuable tool,
yeah.
it's one that people are comfortable with and have been using. And I know there's a lot of biases. I know there's a lot of misunderstandings of what a risk matrix actually means. But at the moment, with the current maturity level within organizations and understanding of risk management that people have, it's probably the most effective tool we have at the moment. And that's where I think the risk visualization needs to come some way. And the example that I saw with Nico was a very good step in the right direction. And I think it's the way risk management should go in the future, and I think it will. But the key, I think, is over the years, risk management has slowly crept into MBAs. It's slowly crept into other degrees where risk management now is a main part. Project management now is focused on risk management a lot. So we're seeing that this is creeping into education. So we might not see it now, but I would say in 10, 20 years, as the graduates of today come out and risk management gets even more influence in education, we'll start seeing that the level of understanding of risk management of people coming into an organization is going to be so much higher than what it is now, what it was 10 years ago and 20 years ago. So we're going to be to the stage where risk matrix is no longer needed because we're already at a more advanced stage going forward.
So this really plays into the video we made about risk maturity.
Yes, exactly.
So the more mature an organization is, or the more mature its resources, resources are, the more advanced you can be in how you visualize risk. But do you think the risk matrix will die?
I don't think it will die necessarily. No, I think it has a place.
Yes.
I definitely think it has a place, and I think it's still a useful tool, especially for just brainstorming even. Yes, it's not the most accurate, but what I found after doing this qualitative approach on a 5x5 matrix, I've used a 6x4 matrix where there's no middle box to avoid that, everything in the middle. What I found is that I've done that, then I've done a quantitative risk analysis. The results weren't far off the priority. At the end of the day, it's a prioritization tool. It's not there to tell you this is exactly what's going to go wrong. It's a prioritization tool, and if you do the quantitative analysis, number 1 might be number 2 and number 5 might be number 7, but it's not far off the
you find list. The same things.
Yeah.
Right?
And NASA used a 3x3 risk matrix, by the way. Now, if it's good enough for NASA, I'm just saying.
Well, we made a risk management system to cover the whole process of ISO 31000, and in my company we chose to use a matrix, but we ended up more with a ladder, but it's based on the matrix. But we ended up not only having probability and consequence. We added the criticality approach. And then we made an algorithm behind it. You avoid this probability times consequence equals
equals
here.
X, Y, Z. Yeah, exactly.
So it's a bit mysterious, but it's yet another way to
Yeah,
portray it.
and I've seen quite a few different ways as well, using this idea of likelihood and impact, but using third or fourth layers as well to try to mold it into something a bit more useful. And it definitely it has a place. I would never say that we shouldn't use a risk matrix or that it doesn't have a place. It definitely has a place. It's just how we use it. And I just think in the future, with the right culture, with the right leadership, understanding of risk, with the right tools, and if risk management departments have enough people in it where you can gather enough information, because that's going to be critical as well, and if the people themselves understand risk enough, ideally they understand it so much you don't even need a risk management department if everyone understands risk. But with that kind of culture, then maybe we can move away to something even more complex if it's required. In different organizations they might not even require it.
I know of organizations that are moving away from any kind of visualization right now, actually.
Right?
Yeah, just depending or allowing for depending on the risk description, and that is that.
Oh, okay.
That's very exciting.
Wow.
So we can talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, should we leave risk visualization with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think
prediction?
it's again, it's just one aspect of risk culture in terms of how we can report risk and make decisions. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, thank you, Alexander, again.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for watching.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.